working, and walking? And finally, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? If you answered yes to any of those, you need to call QC Kinetics now. Learn about exciting advancements in regenerative treatments that can give you long-lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Get your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics. That's QC Kinetics. Here's the phone number.
Call now, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544.
Hey, welcome in Wednesday edition of the show. Starting the intro music now, and we'll get started in seconds. Thanks for joining us. Well, the Trump administration, not kidding around, a lot of the things that it promised, it is delivering on. And of course, the Democrats are going to push back because the one position that they have is if Trump is for it, we are against it. And so it's no surprise to see media members and Democrats, but I repeat myself, supporting a pro with a letter that has been sent to Ohio State, but Ohio State says it hasn't received it yet, putting OSU, the University of Cincinnati, with 58 other schools around the country that the Justice Department and the State Department say have not done enough to support Jewish students on campus. They've not done enough to shield them from anti-Semitic behavior. I've had an interaction with someone who lives in the campus area who is Jewish, and he has undergone egregious anti-Semitism targeting over the past year or so. He's not an Ohio State student that I know of, but certainly we saw the Hamas protests on campus. And you can protest. You just have to protest peacefully. And very often these protests that we've seen, for instance, at Columbia, where this Mahmoud Khalil was protesting, were decidedly not peaceful. I mean, they occupied Hamilton Hall. They broke windows on the UCLA campus. They blocked Jews from going through certain public areas of campus and going to class. But the Democrats are coming down in full-scale support of the terrorists, which is not a surprise because the Biden administration, when it was in power, pretty much tried to abdicate its responsibility to Israel, which is our only ally in the Middle East. So Khalil will be in court today. And this is framed through two lenses, okay? On the right, the presidential administration, Marco Rubio, the State Department, others on the Republican side of the aisle say, no, you can't come to the United States on a student visa or get a green card or be given status as a lawful permanent resident, even as an alien, but not a citizen. You can't do that and sow seeds of discord, foment discontent, advocate for violence, persecute Jews. You can't do that. If you do, we're going to deport you. On the left, now they care about free speech. See, back during COVID, when you wanted to question vaccines, boosters, lockdowns, anything like that, you weren't allowed to have free speech, okay? You weren't allowed to even say that. I've been banned at times. I've been in YouTube jail for a week at a time, 10 days at a time, whatever it is, when you, as recently as like a couple months ago, when I made a comment about vaccines and I said, you know, there are people who question whether vaccines have a role in autism. That probably got me banned right now from YouTube. I'll get a notification from YouTube. But now the left cares about free speech. Oh, you got to let Mahmoud Khalil and all the other wackos who are aligned with him protest on the South Oval at Ohio State. And you got to let them yell at, scream at Jews. You got to let them scare anyone who is Jewish on campus, fear for their safety. You got to allow that because that's free speech. Well, here's Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State, trying to point out what you can and cannot do when you are in possession of a student visa or a green card or are a lawful permanent resident of the United States.
When you come to the United States as a visitor, which is what a visa is, which is how this individual entered this country, as a visitor's visa, okay, you are here as a visitor. We can deny you that visa. We can deny you that if you tell us when you apply, hi, I'm trying to get into the United States on a student visa. I am a big supporter of Hamas, a murderous, barbaric group that kidnaps children, that rapes teenage girls, that takes hostages, that allows them to die in captivity, that returns more bodies than live hostages. If you tell us that you are in favor of a group like this, and if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities, I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa. I hope we would. If you actually end up doing that, once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out.
Yeah, that just makes sense, right? And it not only makes sense to you as somebody who has your head screwed on right, it also made sense to Mahmoud Khalil, because he told a media outlet called The Verge, following the October 7th Hamas attacks on Israel, I am here on a foreign visa. That's why for the past 6 months, I've barely appeared on the media. That's why I'm not suspended, meaning from Columbia at that particular time where he was a student. He's since graduated. I did not participate, fearing that I will be arrested and ultimately deported from this country. So he full well knew, as does every student at Ohio State, University of Cincinnati, and the 58 other campuses around the country, know that if you do these kinds of things, you are in violation of U.S. Code 1182, which says any person not a citizen or national of the United States who endorses or espouses terrorist activities or persuades others to endorse or espouse terrorist activities or supports a terrorist organization can be and likely will be deported. So this is the law, and I get why. I get why they have become brazen in their openness with their anti-Semitism and their persecution of Jews and their calls for eradicating Jews from the planet, because for 4 years under Joe Biden, they were allowed to do it because Joe Biden was afraid that if his Justice Department or any other arm of law enforcement in the United States of America enforced American law when it comes to supporting terrorist organizations, he wouldn't even designate the Houthis as a terrorist organization. He removed the terrorist label from the Houthis that Trump had placed on the Houthis while the Houthis were lobbing missiles and rockets and attacks on U.S. ships in the Red Sea. Joe Biden removed the terrorist label from the Houthis, who were right there with Hamas and Hezbollah and other Iranian proxies in their hatred of America. Why did he do that? Because he wanted to win enough of the Muslim vote in Michigan and Minnesota when he was still running for president and after he left, so Kamala Harris would win Michigan and Minnesota. When Democrats talk about a two-state solution, they don't necessarily mean Israel and Gaza. They mean Minnesota and Michigan, because they figured if they won both, they'd win the presidency. You know that Trump is standing on firm legal ground. Telling Muslim students not to protest because it is not safe. Well, that's an interesting dichotomy, isn't it? If he was convinced he was right, and here's his quote about Jews, here's his quote, feigning that anti-Semitic protesters are on the same plane as those they are persecuting. He says mistreating the weakest, the littlest, and the least has become almost a national sport, and some people take pride in targeting immigrants, targeting people of color. This guy's name is Khalil Turiani. He's the executive director of the Council on American Islamic Relations. You've heard of CAIR before? That's what it is, C-A-I-R. But he is also, according to Jordan Laird of the Dispatch, warning non-citizens in the United States not to protest because it is not safe. And it's not safe because he knows that anybody who protests, like Mahmoud Khalil, if violence happens, if mayhem occurs, if property damage should transpire, then it passes from a free speech issue to a violation of the law that will allow American authorities to grab you, arrest you, jail you, and eventually deport you. And it's very seldom that these Hamas sympathizers can get together and can spew their hatred of Jews and stay within the boundaries of the law and do it in a peaceful way. It's very, very rare, because they're so consumed with hatred that the sight of any Jewish person who shows up to defend themselves against this persecution sparks them into fits of outrage and violence.
And sun, a breezy warm afternoon. Our high today 70, partly cloudy tonight, low 44. Partly sunny, a warm day tomorrow, the high 73. On Friday, clouds and sunshine, breezy warm day. High Friday pushing 77. Cloudy, windy, and warm on Saturday. A couple of showers, thunderstorm in the area. That could bring some hail and damaging wind. High Saturday afternoon at 75. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Paul George with Keller Williams Greater Columbus Realty, host of the Paul George Real Estate Show, broadcasting every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 98.9 The Answer. Using over 30 years of trusted real estate agent experience in Central Ohio, I'll share invaluable insights into the ever-evolving local real estate market, provide you with current trends, and bring industry experts who will share their wisdom on the art of buying and selling homes. Join me every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. right here on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hi, my name is Justin Petrichor. I'm Julian Petrichor. We run Alpha Waste Service. We offer front-load dumpsters as well as roll-off dumpsters for local residents and businesses. Our prices are set at flat fixed rates. The price we give is the price you'll pay. We don't force our customers into contracts unless they want one. We keep our customers by providing quality service at affordable prices. If you need a front-load or roll-off dumpster, please visit alphawasteservice.com.
Again, that's alphawasteservice.com.
Hey, it's big. Rob Schmidt recently beat CNN in key ratings as millions are tuning into Newsmax. Every night, Rob Schmidt is on Newsmax revealing the truth about Elon Musk's Doge. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern and find out why Rob is the hottest person in cable news. Even President Trump is watching, and he says Newsmax is terrific. Reuters Institute reports that Newsmax is now one of the top news brands in America. Find out why. Just check out Newsmax on your cable system. Get Rob Schmidt with Greta Van Susteren, Rob Finnerty, and much more. Download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone or home TV to start watching. It takes just seconds. With Newsmax Plus, you can watch our great shows anytime. Go to newsmaxplus.com and start your free trial. That's newsmaxplus.com. Make the switch to Newsmax today.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should you pay thousands of dollars for Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, or other GLP-1 medications? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com specializes in helping get GLP-1 weight loss medications covered by insurance. We know how the system works, and we've helped thousands of people get covered. You pay your insurance every month, and you deserve to have these life-changing medications covered. And if you're on compounded GLP-1s now, TryLifeMD.com can help you find insurance coverage for FDA-approved medication to continue losing weight and to keep the weight off. Insurance companies may not want to help you get covered, but TryLifeMD.com does. Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you will destroy your life. Listen to The Flot Line with your host Rick Hughes every Sunday morning at 8 here on 98.9 FM The Answer. The Flot Line describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Join us every Sunday for 30 minutes of inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flot Line with Rick Hughes. Sunday mornings at 8, right here on 98.9 FM The Answer.
I got an update yesterday on the ticket sales for the Larry Elder event at Der Dutchman Restaurant in Plain City on April the 25th, a Friday night. Larry will appear on stage with me and Jack Windsor of the Windsor Report. We can put about 200 and change people in the room, and we are way past halfway on our sales for the night. So if you've been waiting, thinking, the evening is a long way off, I don't want you to get shut out if you really want to be a part of it. Sounds good to you? A Der Dutchman buffet coming with the price of your ticket? An evening of conservative talk with Larry Elder? The insight into how badly mismanaged the state of California has been, what his impressions are of President Trump's first days in office. If all that sounds compelling to you, then I wouldn't wait. I'd go to 989theanswer.com and buy your ticket today. We would love to have you there. Roasted chicken, roast beef, delicious pies. What's not to love? Get your tickets, 989theanswer.com. Well, they got a big surprise yesterday at the Franklin County Commissioners meeting. We'll give you the details on that momentarily. But first, more on the letter that has been sent, but Ohio State says it has not yet received from the U.S. Department of Education, which, by the way, got a haircut last night. Whew. U.S. Department of Education, when Donald Trump took office, had 4,133 people working there. Then, Trump sent out or he didn't send it out, but somebody sent it out, the retirement offer, right? 8 months severance. 572 people at the Department of Education took that offer. So now we're down to around 3,600 people. And then they fired 63 people at the Department of Education. So we're down to a little over 3,500 people. And last night, Linda McMahon axed 1,300 people at the Department of Education, which means that given those three reductions in workforce, the staff at the Department of Education that was 4,133 is today down to 2,183. It's almost like Donald Trump is doing exactly what he promised to do. He closed the border. He's lowered gas prices. By the way, did you know the price of eggs now is lower than it was when Donald Trump took office? Of course you didn't know that, because all you've heard are Democrats freaking out about egg prices.
Ran on lowering the cost of groceries, gas, rent, and eggs on day one. It has been a huge betrayal of that one promise that he made to the American people.
We have corruption up, we have chaos up, and we have costs up. Ask anyone in the egg aisle.
Yeah.
So the price of eggs is up.
Americans are struggling when it comes to the cost of eggs.
Funny though, we don't hear about the price of eggs coming down because Brooke Rollins and the U.S. Department of Agriculture has a better plan for the production of eggs than just killing all the chickens. 166 million chickens Joe Biden killed. But anyway, I digress. Back to the letter sent to OSU, which OSU says it has not received. OSU and University of Cincinnati, among 60 schools around the country, that received the letter from Linda McMahon and the Department of Education saying that they are allowing violations of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 with Hamas protests on campus. Ben Johnson, a spokesman for OSU, as I said, says they have not received the letter, but he said Ohio State has no tolerance for anti-Semitism, discrimination, or hatred. Now, I will say this. I have been impressed with Ohio State President Ted Carter's very, I think, prudent way of diffusing these protests on campus. We have not seen the craziness on the South Oval that we've seen at Columbia, UCLA, and some other schools around the country. I think Ted Carter's done a good job of being forceful, tamping that down. They arrested a bunch of people. He said, look, 10 o'clock's the curfew. You can be out here making noise, protesting until 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, you got to get off the Oval. It's not safe. We're going to arrest you. They waited until 10:30. They arrested him. And, of course, the keffiyeh-wearing nutcases were very, very upset about that. They had a couple of days ago, which I noticed was not written about or publicized in any local outlet, an anti-Semitic protest outside the Hillel Center, which is where the Jewish students, it's kind of the center of Jewish life at Ohio State. They have 6,000 Jewish students at Ohio State, by the way. But I noticed the Dispatch didn't cover it. None of the TV stations cover it. You know where I found out about it and saw a video of it? On Twitter, on X. So that's interesting that none of the local outlets chose to cover that. So there is still anti-Semitism going on the Ohio State campus. And there was anti-Semitism going on yesterday when the Franklin County Board of Commissioners met. Now, the pandemic was 5 years ago. We may talk about the pandemic either today or sometime this week. This is kind of the 5-year anniversary of the world losing its mind over a flu virus. But the Franklin County Commissioners, 5 years after the pandemic, are still allowing people to join their meetings on Zoom, which of course became a thing during the pandemic. Everything had to be done on Zoom. Well, I don't think they're going to do that anymore, because yesterday, during their meeting, while the Franklin County Commissioners were awarding the last of 4 grants through its illegal Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, keep sending notices to Doge, to Bernie Moreno, to John Husted, to Elon Musk and others, that Franklin County still is awarding grants to the Pride Parade, Stonewall Union, and other entities. Hopefully we'll get the feds in here to shut that nonsense down. While they were awarding the last of the grants, they had their meeting interrupted. And I'm not laughing at the content of the video. I'm laughing at the fact of how horrified they were that somebody did this. Somebody shared their screen on Zoom with the commissioners, which would be a good idea the next time. Well, they're not going to be it next time because they're going to outlaw it. But who didn't hit the button saying, no, don't just allow any rando watching the meeting on Zoom to share their screen with the entirety of the meeting? Because what popped up on the screen was, according to Jordan Laird in the Dispatch, a video of a, quote, hooded Ku Klux Klan member interspersed with pornographic images. The speaker expressed hatred for Jews and also used a slur for Black Americans, which, of course, as it should have, deeply offended the Franklin County Commissioners. But they're such buffoons, that still having people join their meetings on Zoom rather than go to the actual meeting when it's perfectly safe to do so. And B, so technologically challenged that they allow any random person out there to share their screen with the entire meeting. I find the humor in that, not in the content of the video. Kevin Boyce, of course, the wokest of the 3 woke commissioners, was deeply offended. He said, quite frankly, you have started something here. Now, this tactic is known as Zoom bombing. When you share a video on a Zoom call, when the originator of the call is too stupid to block people from sharing their screen. It's called Zoom bombing. From now on, the commissioners report, their meetings will be conducted only in person, and there will be no Zoom option. How late are they on that? Let's see. COVID ceased to be a thing in 2022. They're kind of 3 years behind on that, but at least they've gotten the message. Appears they are deeply offended enough to get the message.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Senate Republicans optimistic they'll be able to pass a Trump-backed continuing resolution to keep the government up and running through September. Europeans, now the Canadians, promising retaliatory tariffs on American goods since President Trump's 25% tariffs on steel and other metals have gone into effect. Democrat U.S. Senator Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire announcing that she will not be running for re-election. Inflation eased a bit last month. According to the government's newly released Consumer Price Index, prices rose 0.2% in February, the smallest month-to-month increase in 7 months. We are closer to a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war. A U.S. brokered 1-month truce has been agreed to by Ukraine. Now it's up to Russia. At Wall Street, the Dow down 224 points, NASDAQ up 121. More details at srnnews.com.
Hooley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you are a realtor, don't miss this public service announcement from the founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333. You've seen him on Fox News, Newsmax, CNN, and the Salem News Channel, and townhall.com. He's Chris DeGaulle, and you can hear him weekday mornings 6 to 9 on your station for news, opinion, and passion. 98.9 FM, The Answer.
I'm CPA Brad Henneberg with Premier Tax CPAs. And the true value of using a CPA is getting guidance throughout the year, not just at tax time. During the year, we can actively advise you on your financial and tax planning and other major business decisions, just like an outside CFO. Too often, when you see your accountant only at tax time, we're really only keeping score of what you did last year. We'll prepare a comprehensive tax plan to maximize your deductions and minimize the tax you pay, and present you with money-saving options you may not have ever considered. We'll update your financial position each quarter, so there are no nasty surprises at tax time. At Premier Tax CPAs, we like to have consultations with our clients throughout the year because important financial information is only useful if it's timely. At Premier Tax CPAs, we're a firm that can work with you and your business throughout the year to help you make decisions before it's too late. Give us a call at Premier Tax CPAs at 614-524-4888. That's 614-524-4888.
Hear from one of America's most important public intellectuals on the Victor Davis Hanson Show.
Europe is saying to us, if you have a U.S. platform and you have an interview we don't like, we're going to fine you to the extent we can over in Europe. So they interfere with us all the time. And if they don't like X and they don't like Google and they don't like Apple phones, just make your own.
Subscribe to the Victor Davis Hanson Show today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer. Anywhere you go with The Answer's mobile app at 98.9TheAnswer.com. Also on your smart speakers or iHeart.
Discount Shopping Club at 989theanswer.com can help you get ahead of what might be, what you think is a big tuition bill facing you in the fall. We have 2 great tuition discounts in the Discount Shopping Club. The first at Ohio Christian University that allows you to take $2,500 off your tuition by spending $2,500, because in exchange for that $2,500 spend, you get a $5,000 tuition certificate. Discover your future at Ohio Christian University. It is in Circleville, and it is fantastic. The school is going to go great places, lots of room to expand, and what they have there now is phenomenal. Also, half-price tuitions available at Valor Christian College. 35 years. Valor Christian College has been the school of the Spirit, where students from all 50 states and over 30 nations have come to be equipped as vessels for the kingdom of God. You will get a great education at Valor, where 79% gain a strong leaning in how to study the Word of God. and 73% report that they have learned how to live by biblical principles. Go to 989theanswer.com and click shopping to find those discount deals. Let's dig into the Franklin County courts, shall we? Or at least the courts in general involving matters that pertain to Franklin County. This is a strange case to me. A Franklin County jury has assessed a $36 million judgment against former NFL running back Le'Veon Bell, who is a Central Ohio native. I think Le'Veon Bell played at Groveport, I think. Don't hold me to that. But Le'Veon Bell, I know, played at Michigan State. He had a pretty good career at Michigan State. He had a career with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. He and his brother Levante Bell have been assessed this massive judgment against them following a lawsuit filed by a female family member who is considerably younger than Le'Veon and Levante Bell. And she alleged that the two brothers sexually abused her from the time she was 6 or 7 years old until she became an adult. She says the abuse continued until at least 2017, which is about the time Le'Veon Bell would have been leaving Michigan State and would have been drafted into the NFL. And she says the abuse would resume when he was in town. Now, what's really odd about this case is that neither of the Bell brothers apparently were ever served with the lawsuit. Here's a statement from Le'Veon Bell's attorney. My client adamantly denies any and all allegations that have been lodged against him. Further, he was never served with a civil complaint or any documents. The default judgment granted was based upon violations of his Fifth Amendment rights of due process for failing to be served. My client is in the process of filing a motion to open and reverse the default judgment because the narratives of the case have never been litigated. So this woman filed a report with Columbus Police in October of 2022 where she accused Bell and his brother of sexual assault. Her attorney says that nothing came of the case, nothing came of the report that she made, and no criminal charges were ever filed. So she filed a civil lawsuit, and neither brother ever responded to any of the allegations in a lawsuit. The case went before a Franklin County jury, and neither of the brothers even showed up at the jury trial, at the hearing, at any of the legal proceedings. I guess this may not be the first time this has ever happened. Yes, Le'Veon Bell played at Groveport Madison High School. I just find this to be odd. I find it to be odd that a jury would award that much in damages, and I find it odd that the Bell brothers were never served with this lawsuit. I mean, how hard can it be to get a hold of a NFL running back? You know where he's going to be at the facility. I'm not casting any aspersions on the case. I'm just saying it's a very, very strange case. So $36 million. Le'Veon Bell was an All-American running back. He was a running back for the Steelers for a long time. I have no idea what his net worth is. I have no idea if he can pay that judgment. But that judgment has been rendered, and now we'll see where the case goes. We've all heard of the case, a very tragic case, the death of Johnny Gaudreau, the Columbus Blue Jacket, and his brother Matthew, run over by a drunk driver in New Jersey while they were home to be in their sister's wedding the following day. Both Gaudreau brothers' wives were pregnant. We've updated you on this case a couple of times. Here's the latest. According to Bethany Bruner's report in the Dispatch, the driver who was driving erratically, passing cars, and attempted to pass a car on the left, that car veered over to keep him from passing on the left. Well, actually, that's wrong. I misstated that. The driver of the car ahead of the guy who ended up killing the Gaudreau brothers veered left, not to keep this guy from passing him, But in order not to hit the Gaudreau brothers who were riding their bikes single file on a New Jersey highway. You know, when you're behind a biker, right? You don't want to shave it close right beside him. You go over the center line. If there's no car coming, if there's a car coming, you slow down, you wait for the car to clear, and then you go, you know, around the bikers at a safe distance, unless you're a knucklehead who likes to buzz bikers. So that's what this driver did. Well, Sean Higgins, the guy who ran over the Gaudreau brothers, decided, oh, if you're not going to let me pass you on the left, I'll just pass you on the right. And he veers around the car on the right, and he runs over both Gaudreau brothers. Now, he's trying to have the case thrown out of court. The other day, the filing was, well, the Gaudreau brothers were drunk. They were drunk. In fact, they were drunker than I was. So I am not guilty of anything because they drank more than I did. This is an, well, I mean, I guess it's an interesting defense. It is also a stupid defense. Let me ask you a question. If you go to a bar and you imbibe and you have a blood alcohol content in violation of the legal limit in the state of Ohio, and you drive home safely, nothing happens, you don't cause any mayhem, you don't run over a curb and knock down a light pole owned by the city or the state, you don't run over two bikers and kill them, you don't run over anybody in a crosswalk, you don't hit another car and cause damage, are you guilty of driving drunk? Well, figuratively, yes. Literally, no, because you weren't pulled over, because you didn't give any reason to be pulled over, because nothing bad happened. Now, you're very lucky and you shouldn't do it. And it's a very bad idea and you are courting disaster and danger, but you are not technically guilty of driving drunk because you weren't arrested for it, because nothing resulted from your irresponsible actions. But in the case of this guy, Mr. Higgins, he hit Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Gaudreau and killed them while they were riding single file on a New Jersey highway. So his defense is ridiculous. This guy is clinging with white knuckles to irrelevant facts that he hopes will exonerate him from his responsibility for the death of these brothers. And I hope the court takes this into account. Rather than just own up to it, rather than just accept the jail time that was offered to him, 35 years. I hope they throw the book at this guy because his irresponsible actions caused much pain and much death. And that has nothing to do with the Gaudreau brothers' celebrity. Now, I told you about the $30 million Le'Veon Bell and his brother have to pay for this sexual assault case. And if they did it, I have no problem with them being found guilty of it. But I'm absolutely astounded that the family of the woman in Pickaway County who was mauled to death by pit bulls has filed a lawsuit. That's not what astounds me. What astounds me is the amount of money they're asking for in damages. $25,000. That's a paltry sum. This woman was old. She was only 73 years old. Now, you might be sitting out there, if you're in your 30s, you go, 73 is really old. Trust me, as you get closer to 73, you're pretty certain, and I'm not that close, but I'm not that far away either. 73, you got a lot of life left. Her husband was 85. She was taking care of her husband. Her husband watched the attack from the porch because he has dementia. And she was mauled to death by these two dogs who the condo association and the dog warden in the county had said had attacked other dogs and other people and were dangerous and should have been gotten rid of. And the two idiots who owned these dogs did not get rid of them. They've been found guilty and they're awaiting sentencing. But her family is entitled to way more than $25,000. That seems a completely and wholly inefficient amount of compensation for the pain and suffering that this poor family suffered because of the irresponsibility of the two people who, they just love their pit bulls. If it were up to me, if I were king for a day, one of the things I would eventually get around to is I would get around to outlawing the ownership of pit bulls. Stick with your pit bulls or gentle takes. I don't want to hear them because everything bad that happens with a dog is almost always a pit bull.
Warm afternoon. Our high today 70, partly cloudy tonight, low 44. Partly sunny, a warm day tomorrow, the high 73. On Friday, clouds and sunshine, breezy, warm day. High Friday pushing 77. Cloudy, windy, and warm on Saturday. Couple of showers, thunderstorm in the area. That could bring some hail and damaging wind. High Saturday afternoon at 75. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Come see Stage Right Theatrics' new program celebrating American master playwrights before they were gods. You'll see 2 early one-act plays by Eugene O'Neill, March 21st and 22nd at 7 p.m. and March 23rd at 1 p.m. at the Abbey Theatre of Dublin. Bring a food donation for the Dublin Food Pantry, and tickets are half price. Call 614-562-9105 or visit stagert.org for tickets. Stage Right Theatrics, where disagreement does not equal hate.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF, 800-4-RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower pace of RV life, like this commercial. And they know Progressive will protect their RV at a fair price with discounts. Now here comes the best part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and uncertainty and are only suitable for accredited investors. Actual results may vary.
President Trump says, drill, baby, drill. And he's declared a national energy emergency and is making the U.S. oil industry a priority with support for more active drilling and support for our hardworking oil and gas industry. If you are an SEC accredited investor and qualified to make at least a $100,000 investment, you can deduct nearly 100% of your investment for this tax year. Don't miss out on this limited time opportunity to create potential income for up to 20 or more years to come. Call 800-278-7455 now and connect directly to Encore Energy. Encore is a major investor and experienced horizontal well operator in its core area of operations. Call Encore Energy now at 800-278-7455 and find out if your investment will be tax deductible for 2025 with the potential for lucrative cash flow for years to come. Call 800-278-7455. That's 800-278-7455.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I did the research, and since I've been taking the supplement, I am sold on the product. I tell everybody about it. My sister and brother-in-law were on it. They started it in October of last year. I'm very grateful for the product. I tell everybody, I swear by it. Many people that can be on it, I absolutely 150% recommend it.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Mike G.
I am headed to the east side today, to lovely Pataskala, to consult with a interested carpet and luxury vinyl plank flooring customer. Also headed to the Bethel Road area to pick up some samples from a customer whose order I hope to complete today. I want to tell you, I really appreciate those of you who hear that I have a side business in flooring, and that helps me pay the bills for my 2 daughters in college, one in private school, and the medical bills that tend to mount. So I do really appreciate that, and I love getting to know all of you. It's hard sometimes to sit in a studio where I don't get to see who I'm talking to and know how many people I'm talking to, but we have all the major name brands of flooring that you'll find at any big box store. We don't have the high overhead. I'm very confident we can save you money. We have our own installers. They're fantastic. We get a lot of compliments about them. I'd love to help you. Go to brucehooley.com and click flooring. Leave your information. I'll reach out. We'll get in touch. We'll make it happen. brucehooley.com, click flooring. I feel for this family of this young girl who is missing in the Dominican Republic. There's a part of me that seems like this is Groundhog Day. Like, do we not get pretty much every year this time of year? Don't we get some young, pretty girl who's gone missing at some resort somewhere in some foreign country, Aruba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, somewhere, because they're, let's be honest, they're engaged in immoral activity, drinking, carousing. It doesn't mean that it's not a tragedy. It just means that, if you put yourself in a bad situation, you can't be surprised when bad things happen to you. So I certainly hope they find her. But I mean, at this point in time, as long as she's been missing, it just doesn't seem likely that that's going to happen. And that's sad. But, this is the difficulty of being a parent. You can't say no all the time. You can't. You can't say no all the time. But you have to say no to the things that could prove to lead to or become life-changing mistakes and unalterable mistakes. And I just pray for her safe return. And I pray for parents to make good decisions on, you can't be your kid's friend all the time. You have first and foremost a responsibility to make adult decisions for them when they're not willing or able or agreeable to making adult decisions for themselves. Now, much has been made of as the stock market continues to plummet. By the way, that's off its all-time highs, and the stock market is down about 3%. Okay, so a major correction in the stock market is 10%. A stock market crash is considered 20% or 3%. Okay, so lighten up. Don't check your 401k every day. Just lighten up. But Trump's tariffs are becoming, the whipping post for all this. Oh, if he would make a clear tariff policy. Yeah, if he would, it'd be easier. But here's what he's trying to do. He's trying to wean us off of an economy that's built on government spending and reroute us to an economy that is driven by private sector investment. You cannot do that overnight. You cannot do that in a month. And one of the tools he's using to do it is tariffs. Now, are the tariffs being effective? If you look at the stock market, you'd say no. But as I've said before, he's been in office less than 2 months. The border is fixed. Okay, that's one of the things he was supposed to promise to fix. The border is fixed. He was supposed to lower prices. Are you paying less for gas now? Significantly less than you were paying before. Yes, you are. Egg prices are lower than they were when he took the oath on January 20th. They went up some. They've come back down. You won't hear anything about the back down. You'll hear about the going up. Today, the inflation numbers came out for February, the first month Trump's in office. I'm not sure that he really deserves credit for this, but they're lower than they were in January when Biden was in office. And this confounded experts. They expected the inflation to go up. It didn't go up. It went down slightly. Okay? It went down month over month. It went down year over year. Yesterday, they had elections in Greenland. Trump has talked a lot about Greenland because of its minerals, because of its national security interests. In Greenland yesterday, the party in power lost. The party that wants independence from Denmark and is smiling upon Trump's forays to forge some kind of an alliance with Greenland won. Okay? So this guy's not an idiot, all right? He's not an idiot. Let me prove it to you on tariffs. Here's Carolyn Levitt. Actually, I'm going to skip Carolyn Levitt. You would expect Carolyn Levitt to say that Trump has a strategy on tariffs, right? Instead, let me take you to somebody who's not a Trump person, okay? Here's a cut off the New York Times podcast. They call it The Daily. They embedded themselves with drug lords in Mexico, people who traffic in fentanyl, okay? We know we have a fentanyl problem. We had what? 450,000 people die of fentanyl poisoning in the United States in the last 10 years. 55,000 last year. Trump says he's popped the tariffs onto Mexico and Canada because he wants to stop the fentanyl. New York Times, you'd expect them to go down to the border and find a drug lord who'd go, it's tariffs, tariff schmariff. It means no difference to us. Makes no difference. Is that what they found?
Shut everything down. There is such an intense crackdown by the government right now, and we're under so much scrutiny and pressure that we're not cooking anything. We're trying to sell our cars and other property to try to make up for lost income because nothing is going on here. I mean, obviously the threat of military intervention in any way, even if it's just targeted strikes, is anathema in Mexico. But the threat of tariffs has long seemed much more credible. I have to say, of the two, I think the tariff threat is the one that really spurs the action.
That's a New York Times reporter who has talked with guys who make fentanyl. Fentanyl is totally a synthetic drug. It's made. It's not like heroin or cocaine, which come from plants. Fentanyl is a total synthetic drug. It's a concoction. They make it. And Trump's tariffs are cutting into it. Here is what the drug lords, the fentanyl dealers, the guys who are getting rich off fentanyl, here's what they're thinking now that Trump is in charge and has induced through tariffs to get Mexico to crack down with its police on fentanyl trafficking.
His hands are trembling in front of us. And he said, the only option for me right now is survival. No, we're not cooking. No, we're not making fentanyl. The main thing that has changed from when you were here last is that Trump is in office and he's making all of these threats, and the Mexican government is cracking down like never before.
All right, so knowing that, are you willing to give the president a little bit of time on the tariffs to see how they shake out? I know Canada today made an announcement. Oh, okay, we're going to double our tariff. And it's a game of chicken because Trump says reciprocal tariffs every single time you do something, we're going to do it. Again, I'll give you the number. I'm going to give it to you every day so you learn the number. And so you go out and you tell your friends the number. We paid last year $370 billion in foreign tariffs. Canada tariffs us over 200% on milk and cheese. What do we tariff Canada on products, the exact same products? 10%. Does that seem, can you defend that? I can't defend that, okay? I can't defend that. I can't understand that. There might be some complex economic revelation that I'm failing to grasp, but I don't understand why. What are we, incapable of making cheese and milk in the United States of America, that we have to are dependent upon Canadian milk and cheese? If so, does that seem out of balance? We pay $50 billion. We get $50 billion in tariffs from others and pay $370.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Find us at 989theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The European Union has announced new tariffs against the U.S. will begin on April 1st. in response to those imposed by President Trump.
Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says it's unnecessary.
It is not in our common interest.
All right, that'll do it for the first hour of the show. Thanks for joining. Another good audience today. I do appreciate you guys' time very much. I stare through the microphone stand. I appreciate it very much, and I hope it's good information for you. I hope it strengthens you. I'm humbled to have this platform, and I hope I don't waste it. And,
Australia and the UK will not be retaliating to the U.S.
Have a great day,
I'm Ed Donahue.
and
Also,
we serve an awesome God. Just remember that. We always serve an awesome God. He loves us, makes salvation and redemption and restoration available to all of us through his son, Jesus Christ. That's the most important thing in my life. It has been for the better part of 20 years, but I've gotten more serious about it in the last couple of years. Not because I'm dying, but because, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why it took me so long. It's a very simple gospel. But the best part of my day is sitting in my chair, contemplating what God has for me today and praying for people that I love that are in various positions of crisis in their lives. And it's good to know that, I mean, how amazing is it? The God of the universe can will make time for us and listen to us no matter what is going on. Like, people think, oh, you know, in your career, you've gotten to talk to LeBron and Michael Jordan and Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods and whatever. You talk to the God of the universe, anybody can. That's mind-blowing to me. So, as it should be to you, I hope. I wish you have that personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.